Don't try to fix something that isn't broken. But I think having both options for people is great. And I think that people should, if they want to, if you're happy doing what you're doing and you're thriving, don't break something. I often say to people, even if you do a daily injection at the same time every day and you get your blood work done at the same time, it can still fluctuate 30%.
Yeah. I think a lot of patients, when they first start looking at TRT, it's going now to the more, I guess, pragmatic side. Which modality is better?
Yep.
Should I do injections? Should I do creams? And
yep.
I mean, my approach has always been, well, are you needle phobic? I mean, what are the issues? What's going to work with your lifestyle the best? What would you prefer? And I know there's a lot of testosterone doctors out there that talk about cream, or just cream only cream. Others, only injections. We like to have all the options on the table. I some things work better for others. I've tried the cream in the past.
Yep.
I currently use injections.
Yeah.
What would you say to people about any preference?
Yeah, I'm the opposite of yourself. I was on injections for 6.5, 7 years. I've been on cream for 6 months purely due to availability, and I'd be happy to go back to injections, but I prefer the cream. It sounds like my clinic in Australia, Primal Zone, runs very similar to yours, is that we like to have both available.
Yeah.
One, just for people's choice. Some people go, I don't want to inject. It's not that I'm afraid of needles, I just don't want to. Cool, that's fair. I don't want to stab myself either. Other people don't want to do cream because of transference, especially around intimacy. That makes sense as well. Maybe they're, in Australia, we have a lot of guys that work on the mind. It's not convenient to take it with you. So many different reasons why one might be more suited than the other, just based on preference. But also, I like to look at it based on response. And I prefer, if someone doesn't have a preference, they're like, what, you tell me?
Yeah.
You're the expert, right? I tend to go with injections because more guys injections are going to work more consistent. If we put 100 guys on injections, we're going to have 100 guys respond to injections within a spectrum. There'll be an outlier, but most guys can kind of fall around a certain point. If you put 100 guys on cream, we're now at the point where, well, what pharmacy are they getting it made at? Is it liposomal? Is it a treatise-based? Is it HRT-based? What availability do they have for that? Are they putting it on right? Are they shaving their scrotum properly? Are they leaving it long enough before they pull their underwear up? Are they having a shower? And then you've got, it seems, in my experience, that even if, let's say, we could control for all those variables, which we can't, but let's say we could, we get more guys who don't respond to cream. I've had a bunch of guys who are like, I'm doing everything right. They're on, 2 clicks of 20% cream twice a day, so 200 milligrams of topical testosterone a day, and their levels look like they're taking 100 milligrams of injections a week. So I'd prefer injections from a consistency standpoint. It makes it easier. But if you're going to be doing TRT for the rest of your life, I think, and I don't want to overcomplicate to people, but if you want to try both, try both. If you're like, hey, I want to try cream for 6 months just to see if I prefer it, why not? Like, you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. It's your hormone intervention. I think that that's a fantastic idea. And I feel great doing the cream. I've been on it for a long time, so it didn't really make that much of a difference for me. But I think having both options for people is great. And I think that people should, if they want to, if you're happy doing what you're doing and you're thriving, don't break something. Don't try to fix something that isn't broken. But if you want to try the other one, try the other one. And then, but get dialed in on whichever one you're doing, so that way you can revert back and go, okay, I'm going to start with this. Let's get my levels to a point that I'm happy, you're happy, I feel good, I'd be happy doing this for the rest of my life. And then let's try the other one, and then I can always go back.
Someone says, this is my level, they've got a blood test back. And I say timing is everything, and it's all about context. So what time did you get the level? So if you applied the cream to your scrotum, are you testing 12 hours, 24 hours, 3 hours? Some of the old literature about topicals in general was just test 3 or 4 hours after you apply. Which, okay, you're great for 3 or 4 hours, but what happens when the next application comes due, which is 12 hours or 24 hours? Did you not measure at the trough? Because there can be some variability, again, with absorption for how they absorb it. But so often, kind of in this space, you'll hear people, my levels are this. Well, your levels are only this on that time, at that point in time before, and based on what you've done before, as far as when your previous injection was. So if you had measured a day before your injection, you're not quite at your trough yet, and you're going to still, the number's going to be changing over time. It's going to be decreasing over time, right? And so your level's not one number, it's a variable. I mean, is that what you see as well? But it frustrates me because I hear these people say, this is my number, I did the cream, but maybe that's not okay, maybe if you were, and this is interesting as well, maybe if we measured you a bit earlier and it falls off very quickly,
Yeah.
but how do you feel? And you feel good, but your levels are only, maybe 20 nanomoles per liter.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's okay, because the rest of the time you're 40 and 30, but it just moves through very quickly.
This is where I think there's a lot of nuance, because one thing that, and I often comment on this in groups because it comes up all the time for guys who've been on treatment for like a year or 2 years, you've been stable for a while, you've had a few blood tests, and you're like, my levels are completely different every time I get my blood drawn, even though I've been doing it. And I often say to people, even if you do a daily injection at the same time every day and you get your blood work done at the same time, it can still fluctuate like 30%.
Yeah.
So it can sometimes be confusing for people around the numbers. And this is why, and I'm sure you're the same, numbers are a ballpark.
Yeah.
Numbers are a proxy for your overall androgen activity. And something that Dr. Neil Rousier talks about is he has a theory that the testosterone works at the receptor site for longer than the half-life as well. It activates the receptor for a bit longer. So, if someone, for example, like myself, is only doing cream once a day, and the literature shows, okay, well, after 24 hours, I'm going to have 50% of my levels that I had previously. I don't wake up feeling like half the man I felt.
Yes,
like
exactly. Yeah.
Some days I forget to put it on till the afternoon because I feel great. And it's also important to recognize that natural testosterone production has a daily rhythm. So it's actually okay to have that with something like cream, or even with injections, to have a bit of fluctuation. As long as you're not blowing through the roof and crashing through the floor, there can be some variability. And like you said, when it comes to getting your blood work done, particularly with cream, my friend Dr. Keith Nichols, he measures at 4 to 6 hours. I don't want to get that wrong. 4 to 6 hours. Because that's going to be, if you're putting it on twice a day, that's going to represent your average point over the course. If I'm doing it once a day, for me personally, or with my clients, I like to measure at peak and trough and go, this is the journey that we're traveling over. But I sure as shit need to know which one's which.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to measure a peak level and think that's trough, or measure a trough level and think it's peak. So that's where there can be some nuance to this, and different providers have different preferences on where to measure it, as long as you know which one's which. It's like with thyroid. Some people prefer to measure the thyroid after they take it in the morning. Some people prefer it at trough. As long as you know which one's which and you get it right, it's going to be the preference of the provider, because at the end of the day, the blood work is a tool for the provider to be able to do their job. And the big factor is, we need to have a blood test so that we know that we're within the ballpark. We're not through the roof or crashed out to nothing. But the biggest overarching factor when in conjunction with the blood work is, well, how do you feel? And that's where it's important that we're looking at bloods and we're looking at symptom resolution, because we need people to feel good, but we also need them to be objectively healthy. And I like to talk to guys about, we want the objective health and we want the subjective health. We want all the health markers to be moving in the right direction, and we also want you to actually be feeling the way that you want to feel as well. And I think that it's very important when we're dealing with different injection schedules, different cream application schedules. There's a whole bunch of nuance to this, as well as people having, complicating medical conditions, diet, lifestyle factors. It's so important that guys don't try to do this themselves and work with someone who has experience with this, because, and I'm sure you're the same, when guys come to me and they go, look, I've got this thing going on, like, I'm not sure, I've seen it before. Like, people, there's patterns, there's things that happen, that there's templates and there's patterns that we can see. And it's very important that we prevent issues happening with guys on their optimization journey, rather than trying to fix something after it's gone wrong. What is testosterone optimization therapy? This is optimizing testosterone levels rather than simply just replacing them. The provider will need to intrinsically understand how testosterone works and how the human body works. So when you follow this process of optimizing testosterone gradually, it allows the patient to acclimatize